If you're past 60 and noticing your erections aren't as strong, you're feeling tired even before lunchtime, and a full night's sleep seems like a distant memory, this is especially for you. Because the real reason for these changes could be something quite simple that your doctor hasn't mentioned. Your body might be lacking a potent natural remedy that can reignite what age has gradually diminished. Just one herb taken before bed, that's all it takes. I'm Dr. Anya Sharma, a specialist in men's health and a professor of urology with over 3 decades dedicated to helping men rediscover their strength, vitality, and self-assurance. Over the years, I've consulted with countless men across the country, from business leaders to veterans. And I can assure you, what you're about to learn isn't just theory. It's real, it's proven, and it's helped so many men feel like themselves again. Many men think they need testosterone injections, those little blue pills, or simply accept that decline is a natural part of aging. But what if that's not the case? What if your body still has the potential to function as it once did? It might simply be missing the essential elements it needs. That's where this particular herb comes into play. It's not a manufactured drug, not a fad, but a genuine plant that's been used for centuries and has been scientifically shown to work in the aging male body. In the next few moments, I'll share how taking just one herb before bed can help you regain firmer erections, boost your energy levels throughout the day, and help you drift into a deeper, more restful sleep, all without drastically changing your diet, your medications, or your lifestyle. And please stay with me, because very soon, I'll reveal the name of this herb, how to use it, and why it's especially effective for men over 60. You likely haven't heard this before, but once you do, you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. Before we continue, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you won't miss any simple, natural health tips specifically for men over 60. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0. Your feedback helps me create content that's more helpful for you. Now, let's discuss why these changes are happening. If you've noticed weaker erections, low energy, and difficulty sleeping creeping in after 60, it's not just a consequence of getting older. There's a more fundamental reason behind it. And understanding this is the first step to turning things around. Allow me to explain. Firstly, why do erections, energy, and sleep tend to decline after 60? I've had men sit across from me in my office, looking downcast, their voices barely above a whisper, asking me a question I've heard for over 30 years. Doctor, what's happening to me? They're not just referring to their sex life, although that's often where the concern begins. They're talking about feeling like a diminished version of the man they once were. Lacking energy, lacking enthusiasm, not sleeping well, and they often blame themselves. But here's what I tell them, it's not your fault. After 60, your body starts to undergo changes that most men aren't prepared for. One of the most significant changes is a natural decrease in testosterone. Of course, that's part of the picture. But what really starts to decline is something even more critical, nitric oxide production. You see, nitric oxide is the molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax, expand, and allow blood to flow freely, especially to vital areas like your heart, your brain, and, yes, your penis. As nitric oxide levels decrease, so does circulation. Erections become weaker or disappear altogether. Sleep becomes light and fragmented. Your energy fades by midday. And when you're not sleeping well, your hormone levels drop even further. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. Most men assume this is simply a normal part of aging. But the truth is, these symptoms are warning signs that your body's natural systems are slowing down due to a lack of support. It's not because you're broken, but because your body needs a little help. I understand how frustrating it can be to feel this way, like you're gradually fading, even when you're doing everything you think you should be. But what if I told you there's a way to break this cycle? What if one simple, natural step before bed could help your body start to repair itself overnight, improving your blood flow, your sleep, and your strength? That's exactly what we're going to explore next, starting with a potent herb you've probably never even heard of. Secondly, let's discuss the real underlying cause, nitric oxide and blood flow. Over the years, I've come to a realization that many doctors don't fully explain to their patients that testosterone isn't the only answer when it comes to erections or energy. Don't misunderstand me, it's important. But the real key, the one I consistently come back to, is blood flow. And the unsung hero behind blood flow is nitric oxide. I recall one patient, Richard, aged 64, who told me he felt like his body had simply stopped cooperating. His libido had plummeted, his erections were unreliable at best, and he felt exhausted no matter how much he slept. But what struck me wasn't how unusual his story was. It was how common it had become. And most men like Richard have never even heard of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas that your body produces naturally, and it plays a vital role in relaxing the inner muscles of your blood vessels. When these vessels relax, they widen, allowing blood to flow more freely. This is what enables blood to rush into the penis to create and maintain an erection. It's what keeps your brain sharp and your heart strong. And here's the crucial point. After the age of 60, nitric oxide production can decrease by as much as 50%. This decline explains so much: poor circulation, cold hands and feet, brain fog, erectile difficulties, and the worst part is that without adequate blood flow at night, your brain doesn't enter the deep stages of sleep where hormones are regulated and cells are repaired. It becomes a cycle. Poor blood flow leads to poor sleep, which leads to hormonal imbalances, which leads to even weaker erections and lower energy. But here's the good news. Your body still wants to produce nitric oxide. It simply needs the right support. And, as I'll explain next, there's an herb that naturally boosts nitric oxide production in older men, particularly when taken before bed. You've likely walked past it in the store without realizing its true potential. But after hearing this, you'll never look at it the same way again. Thirdly, the herb you've likely never heard of, but should start using tonight. When I first started practicing medicine, I was trained to rely on prescriptions, pills, injections, and patches. That's how we were taught to treat men experiencing low energy, erectile issues, and sleep problems. But over time, I started to notice something. Many of my older patients weren't getting better. They were simply managing their symptoms. That didn't sit well with me. So, I began researching natural solutions, therapies that supported the body instead of forcing it. And that's when I discovered an herb I'll never forget, Tribulus Terrestris. It's not a fancy name, and it's not as trendy as ginseng or ashwagandha. In fact, most men walk right by it in the health aisle without giving it a second glance. But what this plant lacks in popularity, it more than makes up for in potency, especially for men over 60. Tribulus has been used in traditional medicine for centuries, particularly in regions where male virility and stamina were highly valued. Modern science now shows that compounds in Tribulus, specifically saponins, can help stimulate luteinizing hormone, which supports your body's own testosterone production. But, more importantly, it also enhances nitric oxide release. As we've already discussed, that means stronger blood flow, better circulation, and improved sexual response. I remember a man named Charles, 70 years old, a retired engineer. He wasn't interested in natural remedies until his sleep became so disrupted and his erections so unreliable that he finally said, "I'll try anything." I recommended just one change: Tribulus before bed. Within 2 weeks, he called me and said, "Doctor, I haven't slept that deeply or woken up feeling this refreshed in years." But here's the thing. It's not just what you take that matters, it's when you take it. And that's where most men make a mistake. You see, there's a crucial reason why this herb works best at night. And if you miss that window, you're missing out on its full potential. Let me explain why timing is everything. Fourthly, how does it work in men over 60? Let's look at the science. When you're in your 30s or 40s, your body has reserves. Hormone levels are higher, blood flow is strong, and sleep comes easily. But after 60, these systems start to slow down. That's simply a part of the aging process. But the wonderful thing about nature is that it also provides us with ways to support these same systems if we know how to use them correctly. And when it comes to Tribulus terrestris, the way it interacts with your aging biology is precisely why it works so effectively for men in this stage of life. I've guided many patients through this, men who were initially skeptical. But when I explain the actual science behind how this herb works, I can see a spark of hope return to their eyes. Because it's not about belief or hype, it's about physiology. Tribulus helps stimulate a signal in the brain called luteinizing hormone, which tells your testes to produce more of your own natural testosterone. Not in excessive amounts, but just enough to start restoring balance. That alone is significant, but it doesn't stop there. The herb also enhances nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme responsible for producing nitric oxide in your blood vessels. For a man over 60, that boost in nitric oxide is often the difference between a sluggish body and one that wakes up energized, between a restless night and deep, restorative sleep. Blood flows more freely. Oxygen reaches your brain and muscles more efficiently. Your sexual response improves because the pathways are no longer restricted. I like to think of it as clearing a traffic jam on the highway. The cars, in this case your blood, can finally move freely. And once things are flowing smoothly again, everything else starts to function better, too. But here's where it gets really interesting. The timing of when you take this herb can either unlock its full potential or render it almost useless. And most men are taking it at the wrong time of day without even realizing it. In the next section, I'll explain why nighttime is the secret window your body has been waiting for. Fifthly, why timing matters, and why you must take it before bed. One of the most common mistakes I see men make, even those who are informed and proactive about their health, is taking the right supplement at the wrong time. And when that happens, you might still feel a little better, but you're not unlocking the true power of that herb. With Tribulus Terrestris, the timing isn't just a minor detail. It's the key. Let me tell you about a patient of mine, Robert, age 66. He had been taking Tribulus every morning for months, and while he noticed a slight increase in energy, it didn't improve his sleep. His erections were still inconsistent, and he felt frustrated. I asked him a simple question. Have you ever tried taking it before bed? He looked surprised. Why would I do that? He asked. But he trusted my advice. And within a week of switching to nighttime dosing, everything changed. His sleep became deeper. His morning erections returned. And he said something I'll never forget. I feel like I've been reset. Here's why it works. Your body does most of its hormone production, tissue repair, and nitric oxide activity at night, especially between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's when testosterone surges occur. It's when your brain clears away waste and your muscles regenerate. It's the body's natural reset window. When you take Tribulus before bed, you're aligning its effects with the very systems that need it most. Right when they're working their hardest, you're not simply adding something to your routine. You're supporting your body's overnight engine, giving it the exact fuel it needs at the right time. That's why men who take this herb before bed often wake up feeling more refreshed, stronger, and, yes, noticeably more responsive in the bedroom. Now, you might be wondering, is this just a placebo effect? Is this just one man's experience? Not at all. In fact, I've witnessed this transformation in dozens of men. And in the next segment, I'll share a few compelling stories that demonstrate just how real this can be. Sixthly, let's hear about real results from my patients. There's something incredibly powerful about seeing real change in real people. I can talk about the science all day long, and I appreciate the data. But what truly inspires me are the moments when a man walks into my office looking brighter, more confident, and says, "Doctor, I feel like myself again." That's what this is all about. Not numbers, not charts, but restoring dignity, strength, and joy to men who thought that chapter of their lives was over. Let me share one story that still resonates with me. His name was Harold, 71 years old, a retired firefighter. He came to see me after struggling with poor sleep and the absence of morning erections for almost 3 years. He said, "I don't need to feel 25 again. I just want to feel alive." I put him on a simple plan. No complicated changes, no risky medications, just one thing. Tribulus Terrestris before bed. That was it. After 10 days, Harold sent me an email. "Doctor, I slept through the night for the first time in months. And this morning, let's just say I was shocked. In a good way." A few weeks later, he told me his wife had noticed the difference before he did. More energy, more presence, more intimacy, and not from a pill that wears off after a few hours, but from something that helped his body come back online naturally. And Harold isn't the only one. I've seen this happen with men from all walks of life. Teachers, truck drivers, veterans, grandfathers. Once they understand how their body works and provide it with what it's been quietly asking for, things start to change. Their vitality returns. But, of course, none of this works without the right approach. You need to know what to take, how to take it, and which forms are actually effective. Because not all supplements are created equal, and getting this part wrong can make all the difference. So, in the next section, I'll guide you through exactly how to start using this herb safely, effectively, and in a way that produces noticeable results. Seventhly, how to start tonight safely and effectively. If you've listened this far, it suggests that something in this message has resonated with you. Perhaps you've been experiencing that quiet frustration, waking up tired, going to bed restless, feeling like your body is just a little less responsive than it used to be. The good news is that you now understand the underlying cause. And even better, you have a clear next step. The key to starting with Tribulus Terrestris is selecting the right form, the right dosage, and the right routine. This isn't about randomly trying supplements and hoping something works. You want a high-quality extract, specifically one that contains at least 40% saponins. That's the active compound that delivers the real benefits. The label should clearly indicate this, and the product should be GMP certified, which means it meets stringent standards for purity and safety. Regarding dosage, I typically recommend between 500 to 750 milligrams once daily, taken approximately 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That timing is more crucial than most men realize. Taking it at night aligns with your body's natural hormone rhythms and repair cycles. It supports the systems that help produce testosterone, promote deeper sleep, and improve circulation, all while you're resting. No complicated routine, just one capsule, one small commitment. And consistency is key. Don't expect dramatic results on the first night. Think of it as watering dry soil. Your body needs time to absorb, respond, and start functioning optimally again. Most men start noticing deeper sleep and firmer erections within 7 to 10 days, with continued improvements over 3 to 4 weeks. Start tonight. Take the herb. Keep the routine simple. Trust that your body will respond, because it wants to. And now that you know what to do, the only question remaining is this: what happens when you finally give your body the opportunity to come back to life again? Let me leave you with one final thought that I believe every man over 60 needs to hear. 8th, final thoughts from Dr. Sharma. After more than 3 decades of working with men across the country, men who have built families, served their communities, and overcome challenges, I've come to understand something that's rarely spoken about openly. Aging doesn't mean losing your identity. It doesn't mean you have to surrender your strength, your energy, your desire, or your manhood. You don't have to resign yourself to restless nights, fading erections, or that persistent feeling of being slightly out of sync with yourself. You simply need to provide your body with the tools it no longer produces adequately on its own, and trust that it still knows how to respond. We've discussed why erections, energy, and sleep decline after 60, and how nitric oxide, not just testosterone, plays a crucial role. We've explored the potent herb Tribulus Terrestris and the science behind how it works specifically for men your age. You've seen the importance of taking it before bed, when your body is naturally in its rebuilding phase. You've heard the stories of men who took that first step and started to feel alive again. And now you know how to start tonight simply and safely. I've seen this herb transform lives, not because it's magical, but because it works in harmony with your biology, not against it. And as a doctor, there's no greater satisfaction than witnessing a man regain his confidence, restore his energy, and participate more fully in his life and with his loved ones. That's what I want for you. So, here's my final piece of advice: don't wait. Don't continue to endure days that feel unfulfilling and nights that feel empty. You don't need another prescription. You don't need to accept decline as your new normal. You simply need one small action, taken consistently, to unlock the door back to the man you remember being, the man you still are. Start tonight. Your body is ready. It just needs your permission to begin.